Hi. Hi, Dorothea. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, hold on. My audio doesn't want to let me hear you that well. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Up there it is.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Well, it's too early to tell because I haven't been up all that long.
Same here. Same here. Don't worry.
I am the worst early morning person ever.
I am with you. I'm all for doing these in the morning because then I have the rest of the day to do things.
Yes.
But getting up early has never been my thing.
No, my husband was, doesn't bother him to get up at 6, 6:30, 7. But I'm like, that makes the day so long. And what do you do that early in the day?
I woke up early. I went to a bachelorette weekend maybe 2 weekends ago. And for the first time ever, I woke up at like 7 o'clock on my own. And I woke up and I was like, well, now what? Like, we're not doing
at 7 in the morning.
I sat there and then it took forever to get to 9 o'clock. So we didn't do anything. I was like, this is pointless. I could be sleeping.
I know. Yesterday, I woke up. I didn't get out of bed, but I think I woke up like 8:30-ish or whatever. My husband had already been to town, got gas in the car at Sam's or Costco, went to Walmart to pick up something he was looking for, went to a parts store for car parts and stuff, and went to the grocery store, and he was already back at 8:30. He was already back. I was like, now what are you going to do the rest of the day? Why don't you save some of that?
Right, like, aren't you now really tired? It makes no sense to me. I've never been a morning person. I don't think I ever will be.
Yeah.
Kudos to them.
I know. But see, they go to bed really early, and I don't.
Yeah, I'm not good at that either.
I don't go to bed early. Because, I don't know, I started playing in bands like when I was 17. And, we played until from 9 to 1. And
right.
By the time you got home, it was late. And so then you slept late the next day. And I don't know. But I did get up for school for my 3 children. But I don't even remember. Did I go back to bed? I don't remember now. But I did do that. I was a mother, have to get up and get them ready and get them fed before they left for school. But I don't even remember if I went back to bed. I can't think.
But the point is that you woke up, you got them ready, you got them to school, and then who cares? Because you were probably so tired.
Yeah, because my husband was at work and I was there alone. I don't know. Because I never worked like a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah. So you've always just been drumming, subbing in for bands, part of all city choir. Like, that's what you've been doing your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did work in a music store for like 10 years, but I didn't go in until 12. I worked 12 to 6. So I still didn't have to get up early.
That sounds like the perfect job, honestly.
I know. I went in at 12 to relieve, some of them to go to lunch that had been there since 9 or whatever. And so I did that for 10 years.
Wow.
But, I never had to be somewhere at 8 o'clock. So, like, if we're going camping or in our RV out of town, he wants to leave sometime to beat the traffic at 6 in the morning. And I'm like, oh, please.
No, it's not worth
I'm
it.
Miserable. If I ever do get up at that time of the day, I'm miserable for the whole day.
Yeah. Right. And then it's like, just don't talk to me all day. So what's the point of waking up early?
Yeah. I'd get an early flight. One time we had to be at the airport at 5:30 in the morning. I was like, 5:30 in the morning? No.
It just shouldn't exist. That early time in the day.
I'm never doing it again. And believe it or not, I guess that's when people love to do it because the airport was packed and the lines But then we took a 3:00 in the afternoon flight a couple of times within the last few months. And there's nobody there in the afternoon because they've all done the early morning thing. So that's the best time to go.
I agree.
Fly out at night.
I don't want anyone there. I don't want to have to talk to people. I just want to also be awake.
Yes, me too.
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to take us back a little bit now because you started at like 13.
Yes.
But you started with the piano when you were younger.
Yes, I was in 3rd grade, so I was 8.
Right. And then you eventually transitioned to the drum corps, and you were one of 2 females to do that.
Yes.
Wow.
We were she was there when I got there to try out, and I was like, oh, there is a girl. So there was no problem when I went to sign up and I wanted to play drums because I could see her already there, and I was like, oh my gosh. But she was from a school that was maybe 8 miles from where I went to school. So I didn't know her until then because that little school was a very small school, like out in the country. So we got to be best friends. But so there was no question where a lot of females are saying, they couldn't play drums. They weren't allowed to play drums in band and all. But luckily we had that drum and bugle corps. And so I started, and I was in 8th grade, the fall of 8th grade. And I think I quit piano because I had been doing it for like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So I've been doing it for 6 years. And so I was like, I think I'll play drums now. So I gave up the piano.
What was it about drums that made you want to switch to them and not stick with piano?
I think I was just born a drummer to be a drummer. Just like my grandson is now 13, but when he was 7 or 8 months old, he was young. I think he was like 8 months old. We noticed he would sit on my lap and I would bounce him and sing rhythmically, and when I would stop, he couldn't speak, but he would go, and he wanted more. So now I have a little grandbaby that's 9 months old, and she is exactly the same way. So this grandson, though, he plays trumpet in school band. He plays the piano really, really well. And he plays drums. He doesn't take drum lessons. He's just been here at my house every day after school. Well, I've had him since he was born, really, babysitting for his parents. But he's a natural born drummer. Whether he has drums in his own home or practices, he comes up here when he gets off the bus and jams for about 20 minutes, and he's just natural. He's a natural.
It's incredible.
I think to answer your question, I was just born to be a drummer. There are born musicians that just have it. And then there are people who decide that they want to play an instrument. Some of them were musicians, a natural born musician, but didn't realize it or didn't have the opportunity to take up the instrument until they were later. And so they catch on quicker and really love the instrument then and practice. And then you have the people that just decide to play an instrument and they're just so. They never really exceed because they weren't born a musician.
Right.
And so there's a difference.
Yeah, I was part of the drum corps in high school and I enjoyed it a lot, but I also knew I wasn't a born musician. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was just like, okay, well, this is fun, but it's not something that I'm going to pursue in my future. But with you, that was incredible. I also, if you were only one of 2, what did your friends think? And what did the community members think of that?
Well, you know how by the time you're a girl, especially, in 8th grade, you're looking at boys and you're trying to fit in with the crowd and all. And so I had already been thinking about the drum corps or just playing drums in general. I don't think you could even join at sixth grade. I think that was a little too young. But I thought, I'm going to play drums one day. I am a drummer. I'm going to play drums. I want some drums. I want drums from my parents for Christmas, blah, blah, blah. And so by the time I was in 8th grade, I was like, I really don't care anymore. I don't care what they think. And so I don't know what they thought when I did sign up, because then those group of friends from school were different than the ones that were in the drum corps. So then, then I became best friends with that girl that was already in there. We're still friends to this day. She lives far away from me. She's been in Alaska for most of her life now. And, but we're still communicating, and we're just, drum friends and just good friends because we spent so much time on the buses together. So, on the weekends when I did hang out with my other friends, I don't remember them saying anything negative. Why are you playing drums? I don't remember any of that. I didn't feel any negativity with that. So it was all cool. And so my sister was 6.5 years younger. So I got married at 19. I graduated when I was 17, and I got married at 19. And so I left, and I've been far away from her because 1,500 miles, you just don't hop in the car and all. But she joined the Drum and Bugle Corps. So I never really saw her play because, I never went there that much in the summer back then. Now it's easier to go there, but, financially to fly with our whole family and all back then was too expensive. So she plays snare drum also in the drum corps. And then they had a, what's it called when you get together and you're older and you play? It's the drum corps, but it's, people that are over 21. I forgot what the technical name is. Anyway, so she played with them for years. And I think this coming summer is going to be the first summer that they won't be together, because some of those musicians, they're like late 70s, even maybe 80-ish from or when I marched back in the day, and they were the older ones then. And so they've been marching every summer for festivals, parades, and things. And I think I heard rumor that this will be the first summer that they won't be together. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah. But also remarkable. Yeah. I mean, it's also remarkable that it's been, a big tradition for so many years. And
yes, because it's a very small town. And so they have all kinds of, different festivals just to celebrate in the summer, to get out of the snow, for one, because there's so much snow there during the winter. This is right up on Lake Superior. So it's they still have snow today. They still have snow that was piled in parking lots and all is still like melting and shrinking down.
No, I'm once it says spring on that calendar, I'm done with snow.
No, they've had a bad snowstorm again like 2 weeks ago. So they're still getting rid of snow. So in the summer, that's why they celebrate every festival that you can think of.
Yeah.
Firemen's parades and the Blueberry Festival and just, anything. And just to get together as a community.
Wow.
So this drum corps has always been part of that. So if that's true, it's really going to, make a dent in just people's memories and spirits, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure. And did you realize when you joined that was kind of like a radical move, and because there were only 2 females?
I don't think so. No, I don't. I really don't think so. I think it was just, I loved drums so much because we lived close enough to hear them rehearse. Because if you're in a drum corps, you rehearse like every day during the summer, every day. And then you're gone on the weekends. And so I could hear them. And so I would just get on my bike and ride down and watch them. And so I didn't watch anybody except the drums. And then I watched all the drummers on TV. And I watched Buddy Rich every time that he was on TV. My mom and dad would even wake me up. And I was just, in 7th and 8th grade and say, Buddy's on Johnny Carson. And that was, at 11:30 at night on a school night.
It's late.
I'd go downstairs, watch him, and then go back up, go to bed, and get up for school the next morning. So it was just part of me, and I just knew that I was going to be a drummer. It was a must. And I think when I married, I'm pretty sure that my husband figured, okay, she's married and she's going to have children, and she's not going to play drums anymore. And like all of his family, all of his brothers and their wives and their children and their aunts and uncles and everybody, they were just thinking I was absolutely crazy when I didn't stop. And they found out then I was, playing at night in bars, and my husband was home with the kids. I know that they always thought that I was crazy.
Well, you had a passion, and good for you for sticking with it. I mean, that's also a big deal, because I feel like even now in 2022, if a mom were to say, I'm going to go to the bar and play drums because that's my passion, some people would still look at them like, well, I'm sorry, you're leaving the kids with the husband? Can he handle? It's like, but that's your passion.
But I never got into, the bar scene. I was just there playing music because that's how badly I, wanted to be in a band and play music. So, I never drank any alcohol. I didn't act crazy. I did my thing, I played, and then I left and went home. So,
yeah. Wow.
It was just that was the only place that you could play was, in bands. So when I did like the symphony orchestra for 10 years, I wasn't playing in any bands then other than the symphony orchestra. And that was just, concerts maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but we would have weekly practices. And then when I started playing for different churches, when they had Christmas cantatas and Easter cantatas and things like that. So I've been doing that, my gosh, for, 35 years. So I always have my foot in the door, just like tomorrow I have to set up my drums at a church because the high school, one of the high schools here in Myrtle Beach, there's a bunch of them, one of them has a fantastic orchestra, string orchestra. And he has the kids just because he chooses good music. And so we're playing songs that have drum set. And so we're performing in the afternoon for a little concert, but they're using the church as a venue. And it's kind of like a rehearsal because on Thursday evening, then I will be with the school for their final spring concert, end of the year concert or whatever it's called, with their orchestra. And it's a big orchestra. And he even pulls in middle school kids, 7th and 8th grade, and you will not believe how good they are. Last year we played Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. And they're just so good. So I do all kinds of little gigs like that. And then I'll play that big 4th of July concert. And last year we had like 3,000 people just in the audience. It was like, oh my gosh. We walked out on the stage. I couldn't believe how many people were there just for the 4th of July concert. And we did it 2 days in a row. And it's just one of those big, it's a church, but it's one of those modern day churches. So they have like a stage because they have like a rock band playing up there on the stage. So we used that venue and it was packed both days. So that was a lot of fun.
Wow. I can only imagine being a middle schooler, being called into the high school saying, hey, come perform with us. And then also seeing you and seeing that, like, there's so many jobs and so many, careers that people do that there's an expiration date. And it's such a nice thing to see, like, a middle schooler can play with a high schooler and then play with you and play with anyone in between.
Right. And so it lets people know that, like, why is that lady up there with them? But now everyone knows me. And so most of them are my million followers on TikTok and all. So, and they know that I just happen to live here. And so they're just so excited when I come. So I had to do like we rehearsed one day last week. I had to do some selfies with the kids, and they were so excited when I came in. They were helping me with my drums and everything, and excited to have me.
It's so nice. It's a nice community.
Yeah, it is. Instead of thinking, oh, what is that old lady doing here?
Right, which some people might think, and then they hear you play and they're like, oh, she belongs here. That's what? Yeah, go ahead.
Thinking, why doesn't he just use somebody from the band? Because they have a good school band as well. Why don't they just use one of the high school kids to play drums? The conductor, he's like, no, I want you.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay.
And what made you join TikTok and social media? Because pre-pandemic, I didn't really use social media, and now I have because of Sprouting Mind. But what made you join everything?
Well, about 13 or so years ago, I decided to put some things up on YouTube. Just because YouTube was, that was when it was really getting really cool. And you could just go on YouTube and find different drummers or musicians, whatever. So I did start that. And that was before my grandson, because he's only 13 now. But maybe possibly with, my children might have been on YouTube or something. And so I did that. And then with TikTok and Instagram, my daughter was on Instagram before, I don't even know if she barely does TikTok right now, but so she was doing Instagram just because she loves fashion. And so she was following those. And so then my grandson said, Grandma, why don't you put a drum video up on Instagram? So I said, okay. So I did. And the first one I put up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is fun. Because it was getting a lot of views. I've forgotten how many. But then I put up the second or third one, and it had 500,000 views within like a day. So then I was like, okay, well, we got to do this. And then my grandson said he was on TikTok. And because he comes here off the bus every day, we were looking at some fun things. I said, well, let's look at some drummers. And he said, so he looked up drummers, and we found some cool things. And he said, Grandma, why don't you just start doing TikTok too? And so it took off really fast. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a nice way to connect with people. And it's very inspiring for any musician, anybody at any age can look at it and say, oh, I have a passion, whether it's drumming or not, but I have a passion. I can follow that and look where you are now. And I'm also just thinking about this beautiful relationship that you have with your grandkids now through music.
Yes, yes. So the little baby, I watched her last night. She was in the bathtub, and my son did a FaceTime. And he started, because he owns a dance company, and he's very musical too. He played piano, and he can sit behind the drums, but he's not a drummer. But he has plenty of rhythm. But, his thing was dance. And so he starts singing it kind of like a rap song, and she just starts moving, and then she puts her little hand up. So she goes to the dance conventions every weekend with them because they own the dance convention. So I was asking him, I'm like, well, what is with that hand? Because she sticks her hand out. She's in the bathtub standing up. He's got his hand around the back of her just face. But she's dancing and watching him sing and rap and stuff. And she's just so dang cute. But I know she has music in her because she listens to music all the time.
Yeah.
They have it just playing on, Alexa, play blah, 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 whatever. And so she's hearing the music. She's eating in her little high chair, and she hears something good, and she starts moving. So I'll be surprised if she's not musical.
Yeah.
I really will. Because I can already see it on her.
It's so beautiful. I mean, and the joy that you have for drums, like when you talk about it, I can tell is the exact same joy that you have when you talk about your family, because it's a love. It's a love and it's a passion. And as you said, like anybody can like just, do stuff, but you have to love it. You have to want to do it. And it's so beautiful. And I always think music is just one of those industries that no matter what, it hits you the right way, no matter what you're trying to get out of it. And so it's also clearly just brought your family together on a different level. And
it has. It really has.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Wow. Do you have a favorite song that you like to play on the drums?
Not so much a favorite song. Just, nah, not really. I like, certain drummers, and then they have like certain signature licks that, I love playing. And if I'm in the mood, I might turn on like a shuffle kind of beat because they're fun to play. And like I was showing my grandson yesterday, I was playing I've Got a Woman by Ray Charles, but John Mayer does it. And so his drummer, Steve Jordan, has this signature lick that he plays. And so my grandson wanted to know what it was. And it's hard for somebody who's not a real drummer. And he picked it up. He was over there on that little kid over there, and he got it. And we were playing it together. So I think today after school we'll do a little video of him playing it too.
I love it. And okay, last thing is, what advice do you have for someone who, we'll say, might have it or lacks the confidence or is just really young and just starting out? What advice do you have for someone? And it doesn't need to pertain to just drumming. It can be music or following your passion. What advice do you have for those people who aren't sure if they should tap into this?
Well, you never know until you try it. And I have met so many people in person and so many people through comments that say, I used to play in middle school and I was actually pretty good. And then high school, I started, football or whatever it was. And then I got a job, and now I'm 40 and I wish that I had kept it up. So I'm going to start, I'm going to buy a practice pad and I'm going to start. And, then I start encouraging them. But if you have that passion when you're younger, you really need to do the best that you can do to try to get the opportunity to do it. If it's an instrument, you need to go out of your way to find a way to get the money, donations, or, work cutting grass in your neighborhood or whatever. Follow your passion. Don't think about the passion and never follow up with it, because then you're going to be like these. Like, I have several older virtual drum students now that wished that they had taken this up earlier, because you're older and things just don't work as easily as they do when you're younger. You don't understand them as well either. When they're young and you show them something, they don't really, they just do it. They don't really technically think and break things down. But my advice is, do it. Don't put it off. Don't wait to do it when you turn 60 or whatever. Taking piano lessons at 60, it's going to take a long, long time to get to where you want to be, rather than if you start when you're young. I'm the organist at my church. So I took those 6 lessons, but I still play. I still play keyboards and piano. Wow. So do it, that's my advice.
I love it. And it clearly worked out for you. I mean, look at you now, inspiring everyone to follow their passion and creating beautiful relationships with your family. I mean, what more could you ask for?
No, I'm so lucky, so blessed.
Well, I'm glad that you took that chance when you were younger, and I'm glad that you took time out of your early morning to come chat with me. And I just can't wait to watch more videos, and I'm going to show some of my younger cousins who are starting to play drums and aren't so confident, but we'll see where it takes them.
The other thing is, you can't learn a professional instrument in 3 months or 2 months. It takes time.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing people say. I had a lady say she went and played at a gig, and she said, I've only been playing 2 weeks now. Not the gig 2 weeks, but drums in 2 weeks, and she wondered why she couldn't play such and such a song. It takes longer than 2 weeks.
Even if you're a natural born musician, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, you still have to learn all the techniques.
Yeah.
All the drum rudiments, just like chords and notes on a piano.
Yeah.
So, it takes a lot longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah. But then it's worth it. It's
so worth it. It's so worth it.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much. It was so nice chatting with you. I hope you have a nice long rest of your day because it's so early. And I can't wait to see more videos. Yep.
They'll be there.
Great. Well, enjoy your day. Enjoy your time with your grandchildren.
Thank you so much.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.